my friends, so let's try this again. So do you sometimes wonder about your audience? How do you define your audience? What's the best way to figure out who your audience is? How do you choose your audience? How do you create your audience? What does it mean to have an audience, right? So we're going to talk about that right now, and also we're going to cover what we talked about the last few episodes, where we talked about what is your vision, what are the 12 steps, and why you want to be building a business online. What is it that is driving you? So first, my name is Jean-Serge, going on to help entrepreneurs like you generate residual income from digital course strategies. And you know what, I just did this 15-minute live right now, or 17-minute live or so, just a few moments ago, and I had no audio, so I didn't even record any audio. So if you were watching a minute ago, you might have been like, what's he saying? I can't hear anything, right? And you just went off, right? I'm so sorry about this cough. I have this persistent cough that's just annoying. It's just I've heard before that it might be something to do with candida overgrowth. I don't know, and it's based on what you eat, that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to share this over here. This one, we have audio. Let's go audio. What's your vision? All right, so now let's talk about this. When I talk about course income secrets, I'm talking about generating income from the e-learning boom. I'm not talking about just creating courses, but of course there's that part of it that's my audience, is people who want to create courses, people who want to. Anyways, we're going to cover that in a second. Before we go into that, I just want to let you know that generating income online is not just about creating courses. It can also be about promoting other people's courses. It can be about being on a platform that lets you promote the platform itself, where you get income from referring people to the platform, that kind of stuff. And that's what income generation is all about online, right? So let's just go to the let me just show you here the screen of what we have. So this is the 12 steps, right? So yesterday we covered the vision. Now we're going to be talking about defining your audience. And just before we go into that, I want to show you what my vision is. So this is my vision, right? My vision. Yesterday we talked about generating your vision, creating maybe a vision board, that kind of stuff. You have to have goals to create goals. You got to know what your vision is, where you're going. You can't plan a trip without knowing where your destination is, right? So that's the same thing. You have to have a vision, which is where you want to be in 5-10 years from now. And this is my vision. I'm home with my family. I don't have a job working for someone else. I earn all income online. I work 2 to 10 hours a week. That's it. I get up with my wife and kids every day, and I work out. Maybe not every day, but regularly I work out. We are debt free, not even a mortgage payment, right? We have 2 vehicles no older than 5 years. Maybe we have 3, but we have at least 2. We can go on vacation anytime we want, like 3-4 times a year if we want, right? The bills are all paid automatically. We don't have to worry about bills. We don't need to set a spending budget either. This is just I can attend all my children's school activities. That's a big thing for me. I'm able to help around the house anytime. If there's anyone that's sick, I can take care of them. I can take them to the doctor. I am able to go to events, events in my branding, that kind of stuff. I'm asked to speak at events at least 10 times a year, and we make over $1 million a year. And I also help at least 100 people a month to achieve their dreams. So hopefully I'm going to help you achieve your dreams. So that's my vision. And if we go back to the audience here, I just want to, now we're going to talk about what is it, how do you define your audience, right? What do you do to define your audience? So we're going to talk about these questions that we need to ask ourselves. So what product or service or opportunity am I offering? You got to know, what is it that you're offering, right? That's the first question you have to ask, because without that you can't answer the rest. You got to ask yourself, who would be interested in that? What is it that you have? Are you in health and wellness? Are you in making money online? Are you in course creation? Are you in relationships? What is it who would be interested in what you are, right? The next question you got to ask yourself to define your audience is, where do they live? Where do they live? The next thing, and these are all questions that I've known, kind of thought about, but I've never really you know taking the time to write it down. And this is what we're doing here. I'm doing that right here. I'm defining my audience so that you can define your audience as well. This is so exciting that I'm going to finally have my audience defined on paper. And we'll talk about why that's so important in a moment. The other question that you have to ask is, do they have children, right? And these are all questions that basically you're just defining who it is who is it that would be interested in your product. And the thing is that when you're defining your audience, what are their interests? When you're defining your audience, it's not like I have to choose an audience. You decide who your audience is. That's all. You just decide. And of course you can tweak it over time. You can make changes, but you'll see why it's so important to decide what your audience is. What are their struggles? And finally, one last thing that's super important to know is, where do they congregate online? When we talk about congregations, kind of like churches, right? People congregate at a church because they have the same beliefs, the same faith. So they'll go to a Christian church or I'm not very religious, so the name's not coming to me, but anyways, there's a ton of different religions, right? So every single church is different. People will go there because they're interested in that faith, or that's their belief, right? So that's congregations, the same thing. So for me, when I think about my audience, this is what I come up with. And I've done, the reason why I have this, I'm just cutting and pasting between one document and the other, is because I just did a 15-minute 17-minute video where I had no audio, and I just went through and I did all this. So I'm just kind of doing it again, right? So basically so this is, what product or service or opportunity am I offering? Well, it's a website to host online courses, right, with training on how to do it. That's what I'm offering, right? You got to fill in that answer for your what you're offering, right? And the next question is, who would be interested in that, right? So for me, it's online marketers trying to generate income online who like to teach. That's who my people, the interested people are for me, right? Where do they live? So where do they live for me? Where do they live for me? Well, here it is. This is T1 or T5, I forget what they call it, but it's basically the top 5 countries in the world that speak English and that have a good income, right, that can pay for things. That's my target market or audience, right? So what's their education level? What is their education level? In my case it is at least some college. They don't have to be graduated. For me, sure, if they're graduated, went to university, whatever, that's fine, but they have at least some college. They're not just, and they could and this is the thing, when you define your audience, it's just your definition of who it is you're targeting the most, the clearest, the people that you really want to talk to. It's not necessarily about who it is. Let's just say, who is the, it doesn't mean that people that aren't exactly like this won't be interested. It just helps you to focus your message. We'll talk about that in a second. So do they have children? So for me, I'm basically going to target people who have 2 children which they could have 3, whatever, but that's going to be my target. They have 2 children and their children are 3 to 12 years old. So that will, like I said, we'll talk in a minute about what that matters, what that means. So what are their interests? What are the interests of the people that I'm targeting? Well, they love to help others. They love to teach. They want other people's success first. Their priority is to help others succeed. They don't care as much about their success. That's their interest. That's what the people that I'm targeting are like. What are their struggles? What are the things they have problems with? Why are they online? Why are they trying to build a business online? Well, they've been trying to build online business for 2 years or more. They have not generated income to speak of, and they aren't finding clients for their courses. They're struggling with that, right? And then where do they congregate online? That's for me, like in my case, right? Where do my my audience congregate online? Well, for me, in Facebook groups about learning how to create a course and other course platform groups, right? So that's my audience, right? And the other word for that is target market. So why is it so important to define your audience and your target market? Why is it so important before you do anything else? When we talk about the steps, right? When we talk about the steps, or let me show you the steps again. Where's my mouse? When we talk about the 12 steps, right, we talk about defining your vision, defining your audience, defining your avatar, defining your offer. All that has to be defined before you do anything. Then you create your content, then you define your attractive character, you prepare your email sequence, you create free or low cost item to get them on your list, you set up your tools, you define your stack, you prepare a weekly webinar, and you do a webinar. Now this is my 12 steps, and I'm hoping that they'll be your 12 steps as well, that you're going to enjoy this and you're going to follow along and you're going to get the success that you deserve. And I'm hoping that I'm going to help you with that. And this is the thing. So why do you need to define all these things before you actually create content? I've been creating content and I haven't defined that, and I'm not getting results that I want, right? So sure, I've got lots of fans. I got, right now my Facebook page is not that many fans because I haven't really tried to build it, but I've had a Facebook page with 23,000 fans. I've had another page with 18,000 fans. I've got 15 or some thousand Twitter followers. I got 15 or so connections on LinkedIn. I've got 3,500 or so followers on Instagram. I mean, I've got fans, I've got people following me, I've got people looking at my stuff, but I'm not getting the results I want because I've not until now clearly defined these things, all these things that have to be defined. I haven't clearly defined them, right? And you need to be doing that. I'm trying to find my mouse here. All right, so you need to be clearly doing that. So let me just go back to just the webcam, and that's the thing. So by defining all this, it helps you when you're creating content. So when you're creating an image, right, if you're targeting people who have kids, well, you're going to probably create an image that has to do with kids, stuff that has around kids, people will relate to, Lego blocks on the floor that you walk over, or Play-Doh that's all mixed in together, because your kids are mixing them together, and you're constantly buying new Play-Doh because you're trying to, but if you were targeting older people, retirees, and you were targeting them for I don't know, legal services or insurance, you would post things about what their demographics, their age group struggles with. You would post things about that. It's about paying for their grandkids' education. It's about preparing for the supper where you got 50 people coming over for a supper. The things that they are interested in, that they will want to see, right? So, and same thing with your content, your text that you use, what we call copy. When we're talking about copy, and we're talking about the text that goes on your landing pages and your blog and your posts, that text is going to be based on who your audience is. That's why it's so important to define all this, because it helps you to clarify your message. It helps you to know what you need to be saying, how you need to be saying it. And because by knowing who it is that you're talking to, you can do that, right? If you don't know who it is you're talking to, you're going to be talking to everybody. And I don't know if you've heard this before, but when you're targeting everybody, it's like targeting nobody, because it's so diluted who is going to see your message that it's like insane how much you'd have to spend in advertising to attract somebody, right? Because you're all over the place, it's all different, it's just too diluted. So that's why defining your audience, even though for me, like for example, when I look at my audience definition here, when I look at let's see, where's my audience? So I mean, when I look at this, do they have children? Or let's say, what's the question? Do they have some college, right? So for me, they have some college. That means that they've graduated high school, maybe they didn't they didn't do the best, or maybe they did good but they didn't really care about, they wanted to work. That's why they didn't finish college, because they wanted to go to work. So when I'm talking to people, when I'm defining my message, it can be about that. It can be about, don't you remember how you went to college and you never finished? Just because you wanted that income, you wanted to go and start generating that income, you wanted to start to make money. That's why you never graduated, because you wanted. And for me, that's exactly what happened to me. I never graduated college. I mean, I did last year or so, because I went and I decided to finish it, but I never graduated when I was a teenager, when I was 25 or whatever it was, because I wanted that income. I wanted to go out there and start working and start making income. I wanted the money. I thought that was the thing, right? So I went out and got a job. So when I talk about that, and that makes it easy for me to talk about, right? And that's going to make it easy for you to talk about as well. And that's what you have to be doing. You've got to be defining these things. Hopefully these sessions are going to help you. And if you have any questions, of course, reach out. I'd love to help you out and get your dreams to happen, right? Help you to generate what you're looking for. Right now I'm working with somebody else who I'm going to learn from, who's going to be teaching me some things that I still haven't done yet. Like, for example, I haven't done yet I started a little bit, but I don't have a podcast that's successful, right? So I'm going to be learning from him how to do that. I'm also going to be learning how to set up Alexa skills, which is kind of cool. And those things are for future. And maybe we're going to talk about TikTok, we're going to talk about different things. And if you're interested in learning along with me, then let me know. I'd love to have you along that journey as well. But right now, this is what I'm doing. This plan that's out behind you, that's, you probably can't see really what's written there, but that's my plan to get to 1 million a year, right? It's not going to happen next month. I don't know how long it'll take, but if I don't put a plan in motion, if I don't define all these things, that's not going to happen, because that hasn't happened. That's always been kind of the plan. It just was never written on paper like it is now. And now I'm starting to define things. I'm doing it with you, and I'm doing it for me. I'm not just, this is me defining it for me and sharing it with you, so that you can see how the process works, how you can do the same thing, and you can get the success that you're looking for. All right, so I hope you enjoy this message, and if you think anybody else needs to hear it, well, then please go ahead and share. I'm sure they'd appreciate it, and I would too. And until next time, this has been Jean-Serge Gagnon from Course Income Secrets. Have yourself a great day. We'll talk again soon.